Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing? Welcome to another one of my live videos. And big breaking news now coming out of the media. Currently, more things is currently updated. We know there's just under 6 weeks now until the transfer window opens. Mourinho wants to strengthen up defensively, and potentially, he wants to get an attacker in there. There's Jose Mourinho. As he updated you on the news regarding Pulisic and Fabinho, earlier on. Potentially more news is current updated teams looking to strengthen up and looking to sanction players off. And basically, Jose Mourinho is reportedly going to get 100 in January to spend. Potentially, the board are backing. We could see players leaving January because the board and the owners are focusing on securing these players, new deals that are coming to them, the deals at the club as well. But potentially big now. As I said, big breaking news. Mourinho's, got 11 players in. He spent just under £400 million. We have spent a lot of money. Potentially since Ferguson's gone, we spent around £1 billion. Just with different styles of play and different philosophies, would you, if Jose Mourinho was to get this £100 million, considering how bad he's done Man United so far, he's won 3 trophies since he's come to the club, would you trust Jose Mourinho with that money? But potentially big breaking news now. As I said, coming out of the media, potentially it's about Paul Pogba and Marcus Rashford, and we will discuss more things. So. Potentially, according to the press, this is from the Italian press, according that Paul Pogba has basically come out and he's demanded that he wants to leave Manchester United. So reports are coming out that he said he potentially wants to make a return back to Juventus. Obviously, he was there 4 or 5 years, in Turin. With Juventus, so reportedly he's told he's notified the Juventus players that he wants to leave Old Trafford and potentially make a return back to Juventus. We know there has been rumours about it. Potentially come out the press the other week that potentially Juventus willing to offer one of their 3 players, for Pogba to make a return back to Juventus. There has been rumours about this, but potentially he's admitted, from the player's perspective, Pogba has admitted he wants to leave Old Trafford. He's obviously, we know he's had disputes with Jose Mourinho, as we all know. According to Raiola, Paul Pogba's current agent, they'd fixed their relationship up with Paul and Jose Mourinho. But potentially, obviously he went in 2012 because obviously he wasn't getting enough first team action under Alex Ferguson. Then he had 4 or 5 years with Juventus, before Manchester United got him for £89 million back in 2016 for the current player. But we know at this moment in time he's played every game this season, Pogba, because he's potentially our most central midfielder. But he did say he's always dreamt playing for Manchester United. Obviously, when he came in 2016, he dreamt playing for Manchester United, wants to come to score goals. But potentially, I think now the player, feels unhappy at Manchester United because obviously he hasn't really proven himself since he's come to Old Trafford. We're not up there really challenging. We're not competing with the top teams. We're 12 points behind, top, 7 points behind top 4. Mourinho, he's still convinced, we can get that top 4, as I said. But potentially Paul Pogba's come out in the press and he says he wants to leave Manchester United and he wants to make a return back to Juventus. As I said, but potentially, according to Raiola, Mourinho and Paul Pogba have potentially, mended their relationship. But potentially Paul Pogba, who missed the Manchester derby, you can tell it's a different style of play. We play a different style of play, without Paul Pogba in that midfield. But potentially missed the Manchester derby. Reportedly, as I did say, he has withdrawn from the France squad as Paul Pogba. So too has Martial withdrawn from the France squad with a current injury. So potentially we will hope there will be a fit for the Crystal Palace game on Saturday. So potentially, reportedly, Paul Pogba's come out and he's admitted he wants to leave Old Trafford. He's notified the Juventus players that he wants to leave Old Trafford. Because I just think he feels unsettled. As we all know, he's had disputes with Jose Mourinho. He won honours with Juventus. When he came in 2016, he won the Europa League and League Cup with us, did Paul Pogba. But I just don't think he's proven himself well in English football, Paul Pogba. He proved himself well with Juventus in Italy. But potentially, he could be potentially making a return back in January. So that's big breaking news to update you with. Also, there's potential news about Marcus Rashford now. I'm going to potentially update you on. I've just been reading a couple of the media outlets of the transfer news. Reportedly regarding Marcus Rashford, he's a player who hasn't played regularly, this season. Potentially this season, Martial is ahead of Marcus Rashford. They've been... Martial's been playing centrally and so too has Rashford, obviously when Lukaku hasn't been playing, because obviously we know Lukaku hasn't been in great form this season, compared to last season. Obviously he has a good relationship, he has a good friendship with Paul Pogba as well. does Romelu Lukaku, obviously Everton's all-time top goal scorer, hasn't really proven himself this season. We know he has been injured. It had confirmed he had been withdrawn from the Belgium squad as well. So I hope, will he potentially be fit, for the game against Crystal Palace at the weekend. But yeah, regarding Martial is ahead of Rashford at the moment, as we all know. But potentially, reports are coming out from the. This is according to the Times. Reportedly, Juventus have showed an interest in Marcus Rashford. We know he's only young, just like Anthony Martial's young, but reportedly Juventus have showed an interest in Marcus Rashford. These rumours are stemming from the press. It's in quite a few media outlets, but potentially Marcus Rashford, as we all know, hasn't been to, as I said, he hasn't been to his potential level this season. We know Juventus, of course, last summer spent about £230 million. Something like that on players. They got obviously Ronaldo, that cost them obviously, potentially 100 million euros. I think he signed a 4 or 5 year contract, was it? He's getting around, what's he getting? Is he on about $500,000 a week or maybe a bit more, and about a 30 million year annual salaries? Ronaldo hasn't really delivered the goods. He hasn't really, proven himself well at Juventus. He has scored goals, but potentially he's aging up now, so he will be coming to the halt of his career. I think he's got a year or two left in him. Cristiano Ronaldo. They've got players in like Dybala there, and they've got Paulo Dybala. They've got Khedira, got Emre Can. Obviously, Juventus have still got him out, and potentially are the best team in Italy. But potentially, as I said, they're interested in Marcus Rashford. Potentially, I wouldn't want Rashford to leave, but potentially, I said, the position Manchester United are in at the moment, we're not up there competing. These good young players and these players, want to be up there winning silverware and stuff. And obviously, Juventus do that. So potentially, I hope Marcus Rashford doesn't go. He's been at Manchester United, basically he's been a Manchester United player since basically the age of 7 as a player. Obviously, potentially Marcus Rashford, he scored for England on his senior debut in 2016. I think Marcus Rashford potentially also scored in his first team debut against Midtjylland in the Europa League quite a few years back. And he scored on his Premier League debut against Arsenal back in early 2016 as well. And he also scored in his first Manchester derby. Did Marcus Rashford as well. But I think when he's on full form, he is potentially good, as I said. But potentially, reportedly, it says in the press that Juventus are linked with the player as well. So that's big news to update you with. I can't see potentially Marcus Rashford leaving. I think he has too much respect for the club. Even though he hasn't been a regular this season, we know potentially Martial's been ahead of him in Manchester United squad, because obviously Martial's been in good form this season. Due to his good form, he got recalled to the France squad, but obviously, obviously due to the injury, he had to withdraw from the France squad, alongside Paul Pogba. So yeah, that's big breaking news about Marcus Rashford and Paul Pogba. Potentially more news. Mourinho's looking to address the defence. We have got a lot of players couldn't send the deals. There's quite some of these players are unhappy with Jose Mourinho, with his reluctance to drop Nemanja Matic. Mourinho's got a good relationship with Nemanja Matic. He does have a lot of respect for Nemanja Matic. Potentially he needs to be dropped. I think Mourinho needs to give Pereira the chance, or give Pereira the chance, Fred the chance we paid £50 million for during the summer window as well. But potentially, we know Mourinho has been linked with likes of Jerome Boateng, Harry Maguire, who's just signed a long-term deal with Leicester. He's also been linked with Toby Alderweireld, as I said. Diego Gordon's being mentioned on the agenda. Cool Alabi, whatever they call him, from Napoli, Man United, linked with him as well. But obviously with Toby Alderweireld, he said Man United, well, Ed Woodward has potentially been in discussions with Tottenham Hotspur. Potentially Man United were linked to him during the course of last summer, as I do keep mentioning. But obviously Tottenham were demanding like an extortionate £60 million. Man United were reluctant to pay it for the player. Reportedly Man United are willing to offer him a cut price deal in the January window. Mourinho has been monitoring him. He's been very satisfied. He's been very satisfied with his performances. What is Mourinho's been watching of him potentially? Would you trust Jose Mourinho with £100 million in January? Because obviously there's a lot of Man United fans that want him out due to our bad performances this season. you know, we shouldn't be in a position with him. But reportedly, Toby Alderweireld, reportedly Man United are aware we can get him for 25 million next summer because that's his 25 million release clause. You know, he's proven in the Premier League. For Tottenham, he's still a key player for them. Reportedly, he's been at Atletico Madrid in the past, and he's won a title there, won 3 titles with Ajax. You know, he was at Southampton, now he's at currently Tottenham. So he's been at Tottenham like 3 or 4 years now. He can play centre back, he can play as a left back as well, because potentially Mourinho said he wants to get rid of Bailey or Miley and Marcus Rojo, as we know. As we all know, but also we know Man United have been linked with Diego Gordon, you know, the player that's been at Atletico. He's had experience in Spain, you know, but the problem is, you know, for me, Manchester United need to get a young defender in the team, you know, a young defender, because obviously Diego Gordon is he like in his 30s, something like that, you know, he'll be coming to a halt of his career soon. Will Diego Gordon? Potentially, you know, he's been at Villarreal 3 years, he's been at Atletico Madrid now 8 or 9 years. Reportedly, he does have a 20 million release clause. Atletico Madrid want to secure him a new deal because potentially he is coming to an end of his deal. Is Diego Gordon? He is a central defender. But reportedly, Man United will link with him during the course of the summer. Man United have been in potential negotiations with Atletico Madrid over this. So potentially, do you think he'd deliver the goods at Man United? But I think we need to try and get a young defender because we know Mourinho's been going with Smalling and Lindelof this season, mainly at that centre back position. As I said, I praise Lindelof. He's dramatically improved. You know, to be fair to him, he has dramatically improved as Victor Lindelof. But potentially Jose Mourinho's admitted we have to spend, you know, basically, you know, to compete, you know, with the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool this season and, you know, Man City. For me, the best team in English football. Manchester United have to spend to compete with them teams, especially with the European teams, because we're nowhere near on the same level as the top teams as well. Potentially Koulabi, reportedly Manchester United, according to the press, had put around an £80 million bid in for the player. Napoli had reportedly turned this 80 million bid down. Reportedly, Napoli had turned this 80 million bid down. He's proven in Italy. He's been, you know, at Napoli since 2014. He's also been at Genk and Metz in the past as well. I think he has got a new contract with Napoli. He can play a central defender, play as a left back, and I think in the past he's played as a defensive midfielder. He's also been nominated African Player of the Year quite recently as a player. I don't really know much of him, but reportedly Manchester United are linked with him as well, reportedly. That's basically what it says in the press. So Mourinho really, really likes the player. It come out in the press today, as we all know, about Laurent. It also come out in the press today about Lorenzi Pellegrini. I don't think a lot of United fans, well, I asked a couple, they didn't really know about the news. It's in quite a lot of media outlets according to the press. Reportedly, he has a 27 million release clause, does the player. Reportedly, Man United are looking to trigger the release clause. He's a player that risen up the ranks with Roma, as we all know. He's been at Roma the majority of his career. He's been in the senior team with Roma since like 2015. Made his international debut last year or so in 2017. The player's also been at Saluzzo in the past as well. I think he was there a year or two. Made over 50 appearances. But reportedly, he can play as an attacking mid, a central mid, and a defensive midfielder. Can this Pellegrini Lorenzi? But reportedly, Man United have Roma looking to secure him a new deal. Reportedly, Man United want to get him in January, according to the press. Do you think he'd complement our midfield very, very well? He is only 22 years of age, is the player. But reportedly, Man United have been in discussions with his current representatives, the players. So that's another player, basically, Manchester United are linked with as well. So he is only young, but potentially he has been at Roma, you know, majority of his career. As well. And as I said, potentially, you know, we need a defender, we need an attacker. Jose Mourinho said regarding Matteo Darmian at the club, potentially he's coming to an end of his deal. I think from his perspective, he does want to leave Old Trafford. There's Darmian. I think Mourinho said he still wants to keep him till the end of the season. Matteo Darmian, he wants to keep him till the end of the season. Matteo Darmian, but he's been at Torino in the past, so he has been at Italy in the past, so he's been here like is it like 4 years now? Darmian's been here, but he can't even get into the starting 11 at the moment, as we all currently know. So he potentially could leave. Rojo, Mourinho said, he's going to look to sanction him off. Hasn't been in the same place since suffered that injury against Anderlecht. Potentially Eric Bailly can't even get in the starting 11 this season. It's been talks that Juventus, AC Milan, not Juventus, sorry, AC Milan, Tottenham, AC Milan, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Paris Saint-Germain have reportedly showed an interest in Eric Bailly because he can't even get in starting 11 at the moment. And obviously, he won't be satisfied about this, because there's quite a few players who are unhappy with Mourinho, they're unhappy with his managerial style, they're unhappy with his style of play. And I think, that potentially, we're a couple of years off, winning the Premier League yet. We have got the players, we have got good enough players to finish in the top four. I just don't think Mourinho potentially knows, what his best 11 is. He's tactically getting it wrong, and he's received criticism from this. But potentially we are nowhere near competing yet. He has got a good pedigree with Mourinho, but obviously he hasn't emulated. He's proven in the Premier League, but he hasn't emulated the football what he's done in the past to Manchester United, and that is a real shame indeed. But potentially, if you heard as well, potentially about the Memphis Depay situation, there's a lot of United fans, that I'd like to see Memphis Depay back at Old Trafford. Some people say, why should he get a chance? He didn't do so good under Louis van Gaal, as we all know. Potentially, he's proven himself well out of English football. He's good at cutting inside defenders, very good in the air. He's skillful. He's a very good player. A lot of United fans do want to see him back, some don't. Basically they want Jose Mourinho to activate his buyback clause. Memphis Depay, we know he was good during his PSV days. He was top scorer for them in 2014-15 season, helped them win the title. PSV did Memphis Depay. We paid 25 million for him. He didn't really make an impact at Manchester United and under Louis van Gaal, as we all know. Obviously, Mourinho sold 14 players and he's obviously got 11 in. Potentially for me though, he's doing very well for Lyon. I think he's been at Lyon now quite a few years now as Memphis Depay. He got voted the best young footballer in the world by France Football as well. But potentially for me, we have seen players go back to the ex-clubs, as I give you examples yesterday, but I don't think obviously, it will happen. I think he's happy where he is. He's proven himself well in France. We know it's not a great league, France, but he's proven himself there, to be quite fair to him. For me, would I take Memphis Depay back at Manchester United? If you ask me, maybe yeah. Because obviously I think we still need someone. The right hand side needs addressing because teams have been exploiting it far too easily this season. The left hand side, I still think we need an experienced left winger. Potentially, we know Sanchez's versatility is very good, and he's mainly plays on that left hand side. And sometimes, which he has done this season, but he's failing to establish himself at Manchester United, and he isn't doing very good. Alexis Sanchez, I'd love Perisic to Old Trafford, good two-footed player, good in the air. But Sanchez could potentially leave because he said he's not getting along with a lot of the teammates. He doesn't like Jose Mourinho's managerial style, and he's not getting along with a lot of teammates, as I said. So potentially PSG linked him last year. He's only been here since January, so he could be gone within the next 12 months. So he could be potentially going to Paris Saint-Germain. He was good during his Arsenal days with Alexis Sanchez. He really was, under Arsene Wenger for 4 or 5 years. Good with Barcelona, good with Udinese, as well. I think he's been good everywhere else he's been, apart from now United. He isn't doing it at United. He just isn't doing it. I just don't think he's fitting in the team. Sometimes it does take time for players to settle in. But he just basically isn't doing it. And, obviously, we need, if Sanchez goes, we need a more experienced left winger because obviously we've got Martial, he's only young. We've got Rashford, he's only young. So we potentially need a more experienced left winger. As we know, Martial and Rashford can play a central role, as they have done, obviously, when Lukaku hasn't been playing, as we all know. But, yeah, as I said... To update you on earlier on, we still know basically David De Gea, he could potentially leave as well. So we could see quite a few players leave. De Gea has not signed his contract extension yet. Man United have been in discussions with his current representatives about him signing this new deal, this new contract extension at Old Trafford. He has been here since 2011, so he has had experience of being in Spain. So he's been here like 8 or 9, about 7, 8 years now. De Gea, he experienced the good times under Alex Ferguson. But potentially, Man United have had a replacement for De Gea. We know Mourinho said quite a few weeks ago he wasn't too convinced and confident that De Gea was going to sign his contract extension. I just think he feels down, does De Gea. And the way the team not cooperating well, they're not playing that well. And I think he wants to graduate to that higher level, does De Gea. And, he wants to go to a team that are up there competing, that win silverware. And potentially, I feel as though, we're not going to do this under Jose Mourinho. That's my opinion. I think potentially, I've never been in or out, but potentially, I think he needs to go because we need to get another manager in, to address the problem. See if he thinks and if whoever this new manager is who comes in, to see if these players are good enough for Manchester United, or not. As I said, but potentially De Gea. As I said, he's been Player of the Year for the last 4 out of 5 seasons. De Gea, and he currently coming to an end of his current contract. We know Juventus have reportedly been linked to him. Real Madrid were linked to him, but obviously there's some their interest in De Gea, obviously because they got the signing of Courtois. So potentially for me, David De Gea could leave the club. As I said, he's noticed the lack of ambition in the team, and we've had Jordan Pickford as a replacement, and I think it could. Everton will demand that they want around an extortionate £60 million for Jordan Pickford if Manchester United score for him. Man United are only going to go for Pickford if David De Gea does depart the club and he doesn't sign this extension, as we all know. Jordan Pickford is very, very good in the World Cup. In the World Cup, he was very, very good. His performances were fantastic. He's been at Everton since 2017. I think his performances for Everton haven't been too bad as well. Jordan Pickford's. As we all know, he's won Everton's Player of the Season, Everton Young Player of the Season, and Everton Player of the Season is Jordan Pickford. So it could cost potentially Manchester United an extortionate £60 million to get the player. We know he's been in the Sunderland reserves before. He's been at Darlington, he's been at Afton Town, he's been at Burton, he's been at Bradford, he's been at Carlisle, and he's been at Preston North End. So they're the teams he has been at, I think, potentially on loan. So would you like, he's English, obviously. He's proven in English football, obviously, with Everton, and he's been with Sunderland as their player. So potentially for me, would you like him at Manchester United if De Gea was to depart and he doesn't sign this new deal? As I updated you on some more transfer news on my current last video, as I think you were all watching earlier on, potentially I had some transfer news about what were going on with Liverpool's transfer news and Chelsea's transfer news. I'm going to look a bit more up about their transfer news as well as United's. Potentially the Liverpool transfer news reportedly they do want Christian Pulisic in January. According to the Borussia Dortmund sports director, he's basically said he will be staying. Reportedly, he will be staying for the remainder of this season. Will Christian Pulisic. Reportedly, he's 20 years old. Reportedly, he can play as attacking midfielder. Reportedly, he can play as a winner as well. He has risen up the ranks fantastically well with Borussia Dortmund. I think he's been in the senior team since 2016 as a player. Klopp obviously has, really, really likes him. He has a lot of time for him. He has a good relationship with him because obviously, Klopp, when he was, Klopp used to work with him at Borussia Dortmund. Klopp used to work with Christian Pulisic at Borussia Dortmund, and he had a good pedigree with Borussia Dortmund and Klopp, and then since he's come at Liverpool, he spent just under £400 million in 6 transfer windows. But he's been an absolutely scintillating form for Borussia Dortmund as Christian Pulisic. He said Chelsea have also had an interest in the player as well, but reportedly he's been told to leave, to snub Chelsea and join Liverpool. Is a player Borussia Dortmund, I think, have been in discussions about potentially signing him a contract extension. His current month ends in 2020, but reportedly the negotiations haven't come successful at this moment in time. But reportedly, it could cost Liverpool an extortionate £70 million for the player. So reportedly, we know Liverpool during the course of the summer spent around just £170 million on players. They got Shaqiri in, as we know, he's been in impressive form. They got Allenton in goal. Obviously, they got Fabinho in as well. But potentially, this is it. Liverpool are potentially looking to sanction Fabinho off. He's only been at Liverpool since May this year. Potentially, Liverpool are looking to sanction him off. So basically, the plan is Liverpool are looking to sanction him off, invest some money for Fabinho to help them get Christian Pulisic for £70 million pounds. Reportedly, he won't be going anywhere in January, according to from Borussia Dortmund's perspective. But reportedly, it will cost Liverpool up to £70 million. Fabinho, I don't think he's fitting in the Liverpool agenda very, very well. Is the player. As we all know, he was very, very good with Monaco. He's also been at Real Madrid in the past. But Fabinho, I think he's only made 3 appearances for Liverpool since he's come. But Fabinho had 5 great years with Monaco. He won the La Liga with them for the first time in nearly 2 decades. He played 233 times. He scored 31 goals. But potentially, Liverpool are looking to sanction him off. He can play as a defensive midfielder. He can also play as a fullback as well, can Fabinho. But I just don't think he's fitted into the Liverpool agenda very, very well. So potentially he's becoming a flop. Potentially Liverpool looking to sanction him off to pay £70 million for Christian Pulisic, because he's only 20 years of age. He has got a lot ahead of him as this player. I've never really watched him, but from what I've seen of him, he looks a very good player. He's doing very, very well in the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund. And reportedly, Liverpool are linked with a player. So if you've been reading the media, it's all over the media. If you just type it in on Google, Liverpool news, Christian Pulisic, it will all come up and it will tell you what's going on. So reportedly, the negotiations of him signing an extension haven't come successful. He still has a current deal until 2020 with Borussia Dortmund. And we know he's never played in the Premier League. He's never been proven in the Premier League. So it would be interesting to see how he would participate in the league. And same, and with Fabinho, as I said, with him, he's never been in the Premier League. Potentially, it says AC Milan and Juventus are monitoring an interest in Fabinho as well. So that's the big breaking news to update you guys about that as well. I updated you that on my 7-8 minute video I did last time out. I updated you on that news. I updated you on that news, didn't I? So yeah, potentially there's big breaking news about the main part of this video is about Paul Pogba, as I said. Potentially he wants to leave Man United. He's notified the Juventus players he wants to leave Manchester United. We know he hasn't had a good relationship with Jose Mourinho. According to Riley Ola, his current agent, that the relationship's being mended now. So potentially from Paul Pogba's perspective, he does want to leave the club, as I said. Potentially, we've still got Herrera coming to the end of his deal. He's been making substitute appearances this season. I think he started in the last 2 games or so as Ander Herrera. Potentially, we've had him since 2014 from Atletico Bilbao. Potentially, Man United are in discussions of signing him a new deal at the club. So yeah, and potentially Lindelof, I think he's dramatically improved. He's done good for Sweden. Potentially, he suffered an injury as well, according to the press. As Victor Lindelof, so he could be out of action as well potentially. We have had quite a few players, basically that have suffered quite a few injuries, during the international break. But yeah, we've got Mata coming to the end of his deal. I hope he signs a new deal at Old Trafford as well. Well, Mata, very, very good. I think he's been consistent since he's come in 2014. He can play on the right, but I think I prefer him in that number 10 position. And for me, Jose Mourinho just basically potentially hasn't got the right philosophy at Manchester United, because obviously Pep Guardiola's got a fantastic philosophy with Man City. He's a winner. Mourinho's a winner, but he just hasn't emulated the football from what he's done in the past to United. Pep Guardiola has, and he's spent a lot of money as Guardiola, and potentially made Manchester City the best team in English football, and that's without a shadow of a doubt. They've got great players, and he spent the majority of his £1 billion he spent in his career at Manchester City, and he's achieved fantastically well at Manchester City. Same with Klopp. He's addressed the problems at Liverpool. Defensively wasn't so good before, but now, this season, defensively looking very, very good. Attackingly, very, very good. Liverpool, and they're still looking to add more ranks into their squad. The Liverpool potentially they must not be satisfied with Fabinho, obviously, because they're willing to sanction him off. AC Milan Juventus interested in him. So he's becoming a flop at Liverpool Football Club, and potentially they want to get Christian Pulisic in. He's only 20 years of age, so he is a good young age prospect. And sometimes it is ideal. It's a good idea, or it's ideal to get young players in your team, because Manchester United, we've got Valencia who's aging up now in his team. Potentially winning talks to sign him a new 1-year deal. Same with Ashley Young. He's 33. I think he's same age as Valencia. Reportedly, we're offering to cut the price for Ashley Young for him to secure this 1-year deal at the club. Potentially more of a right winger for me, but Mourinho prefers him as a right back. Obviously for England, played as a right back. Obviously during his Villa days, as I said, he played as a right back. We've got I can't remember how old David De Gea. I don't even know how old he is. I bloody forgot. We've got who else have we got? We've got Rashford and Martial. They're young. They've got years ahead of them at the moment. I can't even remember how old the majority of our players are. To be quite fair to you, I know Valencia and Ashley Young are 33. How old Small? I'm not too sure how old he is either. I'm not really good with ages. To be quite honest with you. Not too sure how old Phil Jones is as well. So potentially for me, we need to try and I'm not good with ages, so don't dislike me for this. Potentially for me, it'd be ideal if Manchester United were to try and get a young centre back, so he's got years ahead of him if he was to come to United. We know, I think Diego Gordon's like aging up as well potentially. We know United are linked with him. But potentially for me, for us to compete, it's Mourinho goes. He gets a pay rise for leaving, and we did get a new manager in. We know there has been talks of a new manager coming in. Or potentially, for me, we keep Mourinho, try and give him the chance. We know this is his third year. It's like a year one again with him. And potentially give him the chance. He's having discussions with Ed Woodward about the January window. And potentially just see who we can get in and see, what, this club can do, to be more competitive, as I said. So basically for me, Mourinho, based on us, he hasn't met the expectation levels whatsoever for me. Based on, since he's come to the club, Mourinho should be definitely sacked. He should have been sacked a while back. Potentially, obviously the people who've been backing him recently before the Manchester derby, because we was in a good run of form, but we wasn't playing well. We was basically lucky against Bournemouth. Rashford with a last-minute goal. We was lucky against Juventus because we was basically on the back foot for the most of that game. We won the game, fair enough. Mourinho changed it round, and I credit him for that. But potentially he got it, definitely wrong against Manchester City. You can't park the bus. You can't play defensively. As Mourinho's shown in big games, he has potentially played defensively, and potentially you can basically not do that. But as I said, potentially for me, as I do keep saying, as I said, with Paul Pogba, this is the main part of this video. Once Pogba wants to leave United, he's told this to his Juventus players. He's told this to the Juventus players as well. It's coming from the Italian press. It's been said from the Italian press that he wants to make a potential return in Turin back to Juventus. And there has been talks about this over the last couple of weeks, because obviously the Juventus director has a lot of respect for Paul Pogba. He likes Paul Pogba. Juventus like Paul Pogba. But he quite a few weeks ago, he called Juventus his home. He also called Manchester United his home as well. But potentially, I just think Paul Pogba feels unsettled at Manchester United. So if he was potentially to leave, we potentially maybe need another midfielder in there. Mourinho's got to give Fred more of a chance. Maybe put Pereira in there. So for me, we'll have to potentially see what happens. As I said, do you think Lorenzo Pellegrini, would do the job at Manchester United? As I said, he has got a 27 million release clause. Roma looking to secure him a new deal. Man United have been in talks with his current representatives. The player, he's been at Roma the majority of his career. He graduated from their youth system. We know he made his senior debut in 2015. He'd been at Saluso. Was it a year or two? Had Lorenzo Pellegrini. But reportedly, Man United are looking to activate his 27 million release clause. The player reportedly is attacking midfielder. He could play as a central midfielder as well. And he is only 22. I think he's 22 years age, so he is only young, so he has, potentially got quite a lot of years ahead of him as the player. So yes, potentially that's everything to update today. What do you think to the Paul Pogba news of what he's come out with? What do you think to Juventus potentially being linked with Marcus Rashford? Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And thank you for watching. I do really appreciate it. And take care. God bless, guys. And I'll see you all again on my next video. There will be more live videos coming up. It will be... I don't think I'll be doing another one tonight. I may do. I don't think I will be though. It will be tomorrow evening when I get back, because I've got college tomorrow. I've got college, so I won't be able to get time to do a live stream tomorrow throughout the day. So there will be a couple of live streams coming up tomorrow evening. So as I said, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, drop a comment, or if you do, consider subscribe, and take care. Thank you for watching.